Hello there, Mike.
Hello, Julian.
Who have we got on tonight?
Tell you who we've got on tonight. We're going to get an insight into the life and times of Wendy Nevins.
Ex-BVNA president. Fantastic.
Indeed. Let's get her in.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Mike Brampton.
And my name is Julian Ho.
Welcome to Veterinary Ramblings.
Okay, so let's turn the clock back. Let's go back in time, way back in time. So what made you become a veterinary nurse in the first place, Wendy?
Okay, so bit of a random story. And sometimes when I hear of all the student nurses who have struggled to get a place and it's something they've always wanted to do and they've taken ages to get there, I feel a little bit guilty because I sort of fell into it.
All right.
Mhm.
I was doing my A-levels and I had to do work experience. I had to resit my GCSEs.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do work experience at school. Then I had to do work experience when I reset my GCSEs. Then I got to my A-levels and the college said, you know, go off and do work experience. By this point, I thought it's just like, I had a job anyway. I was going to go off to uni. I was going to be a teacher.
Okay.
I was doing theatre studies and English literature.
Okay.
So I was going to be a drama teacher. That was it.
Oh,
Why
wow.
did I need to do work experience again? So I said to my mum, just write a letter, just say I'm working for your company, you know, so I can have 2 weeks off. And she was like, no, get out there and do something. So I'm like, oh, you know.
Oh, Mum.
Mum, I hate you,
Oh,
shower me.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, God, Mum.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
I was a teenager once as well.
Were you?
Allegedly still am, but
right.
it's the story. Carry on.
So I said, but I don't know what I want to do. So my mum said, try something different. You like dogs. Guide Dogs for the Blind was the centre was not too far away. So I wrote to them and went, no. So I said, oh, I said, no, Mum. So she said, why don't you try the local vets? And I went, oh, I don't know about that. I wasn't too confident with cats. Me and cats didn't gel. And I said to her, oh, if I see blood, I'm a bit, no. But I thought, my mum said, I've got to do it. So I wrote to the local vets thinking they'd just say no, but they didn't. They said yes. So I was like, oh,
Bastards.
that didn't work out as planned, did it?
How could they? The swine.
Rude.
Rude.
Anyway, so by the end of the first week, I just thought, this is it. I don't want to do anything else. This is what I want to do.
Oh, wow. The end of the first week?
Yeah.
Wow.
So what about it made you think that? Was it the animals, the work, what?
I have no clue. It just clicked, and that's what I wanted to do. So then I had to explain to my mum, it's all your fault. I'm leaving college. I don't want to go back. The nurse who was coming to the end of her training, so she was about to qualify, was leaving that September. So they said, yeah, you can start in September, Wendy.
Wow.
And this was in sort of July.
Right.
Where we did work experience. So
Okay.
And so 30 years ago, was that Rana then? It was post-Rana, wasn't it?
No, yes, it was post-Rana. So my RCVS enrolment date was the 2nd of September 1991.
Wow.
Because I didn't do so well in my GCSEs because I had to retake, I only got one the first time round. It was an A in drama.
Excellent.
Surprise. So I had to resit them, and then it was just, difficult. So I never knew if I'd actually get onto the be accepted by the RCVS. So when I got that letter to say yes, I was like, that's what the date's embedded. And I've still got the letter.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so chuffed. It was before MVQ, it was the little green book.
Ah, yes.
So we did prelims for first year and finals for second. And it was before multiple choice questions came out as well.
Wow.
Generally in the world.
Probably. And we had to do those spot tests. where you walked into a room and there were 30 stations set around the room.
Oh, yeah, the steeplechase.
And the buzzer went off and you just lost it. You didn't write anything down. You only had to move on to the next station and there was a task and a question. And you got it was probably longer than 30 seconds, but it just felt like no time at all.
This sounds brilliant. What were there at these stations then?
Terrifying tasks. I can remember one. It was a microscope. Identify the ectopat. I couldn't even focus it in time. I was like, oh, I don't know. It would get you into a panic.
I had to invigilate on one of these exams once, and it was so tempting. I was walking past and I saw someone writing the wrong answer. So tempted to go. I thought, I can't do this. I can't invigilate anymore because I will just grab the pen and say, no, you fool, it's this.
So, I come back to this thing. So did somebody follow you around the room with a clipboard?
No, there was a group of you going in. So if there was 10 students, you'd start off on station sort of 1 to 10, and then the buzzer would go and you'd all move on to the next one and take your own sort of an answer sheet with you.
We used to love them. We had those at college. I used to love them because to me, they were just little quizzes.
Yeah.
I remember
Torture.
during my finals, there were two funny things that happened in the steeplechases. One was our medical steeplechase. And I had, who was she? One of the examiners from Bristol Uni asking me about a case. She said, imagine we've got a dog on this table, because they couldn't actually have any live animals on the steeplechase. Imagine we've got a dog on a table and I'm the owner and I come in talking about these signs, explain your physical examination and workup. And I started examining it and saying when I was examining, and I said, this isn't one of those cases where I'm feeling it and you suddenly say, actually, he's 12 inches high and you're playing with his willy. And I thought, okay, I shouldn't say that in an exam, should I? And I looked at her, at Frances Barr, that's all, and she looked back at me, and there was this faint hint of a smile, and she said, no, I think we're running out of time. I said, okay, quickly. And the other one was, I was 2 stops behind this guy in my year called Nigel, really nice guy from Jamaica, and so laid back as only a Jamaican can be. And I could just hear him saying, as the examiner was saying, okay, I'm going to have to hurry on this. No, in a real life situation, there could be a dog's life on the line here, okay? Allow me the respect to take my time over this, because I cannot rush to diagnosis. The examiner was so taken back, he said, oh, okay.
That's excellent.
It was a terrifying experience, absolutely terrifying. So yeah,
they are.
But you obviously passed.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did, and very well.
So what came next then?
So I trained in a small animal practice in lovely Surrey.
Right.
Oh, whereabouts?
Hawley.
Okay.
I know it well.
But it was a purpose-built building. I was so lucky.
Yeah, because there weren't many around then, were there?
No. One of my claim to fame was we had, who is now a dame, Judy Dench, as a client.
Wow.
So coming from leaving theatre studies and being into drama to having Judy Dench as a client, I just froze and dribbled a little bit the first time I saw
Amazing.
it. Yeah. And it was before computers. There were no computer records. So the nurse went in with the vet because the nurse had to count all the tablets and, get all the record cards out and all that type of thing. Then I failed my finals the first time.
Okay.
Because,
practice.
Well, yeah, I didn't put the effort in, basically.
No, hang on. I want to hear the excuse.
Oh.
The dog ate her homework or something like
No,
this.
the excuse was because back then my college was 2 hours a week.
Right.
So I used to get the train up from lovely Hawley. Used to get the train up to Victoria in London. Yeah. Lovely place after a day's work. Then get the tube to King's Cross and then walk up to a college further up on Gray's Inn Road.
Mm-hmm.
So the first year was what was okay because I'd go in the afternoon, so I'd get a half day Wednesday, jolly up to London, and then I was back for 6 o'clock around then. So that was fine. But the final year or second year was straight after the first year lessons. So I'd do a full day, travel up, and I'd be traveling back and walking to King's Cross about 10 o'clock at night, which was lovely. And get the tube and all the way back. So it wasn't a lot of college time, really, for somebody who didn't have a science GCSE to start with. So that's
I'm more concerned with you walking through the King's Cross area at night.
It was.
For those listening in a different country to ours, King's Cross is not the most salubrious of areas.
Have you been recently though? It's like totally changed.
Has it?
Has it?
Oh,
I haven't been for 25 years.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. The pavements are like clean and stuff. So yeah, it was a long day. So that's the excuse.
Oh, right.
But to be honest, many people passed. Some didn't. The ones that put the effort in did. The ones that didn't. I thought this way hasn't working and trying to studying. I want to finish this. I didn't finish my A-levels. I have to complete this. So I then, because I was on the YTS, can you remember the YTS scheme? They paid they paid for my shoes as part of a uniform allowance. You got shoes.
What was youth training scheme, wasn't it?
Yes.
Youth training scheme, yeah.
Training scheme.
Yeah, so they all the training
for
was
Maggie's
subsidised.
Millions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just one of them, I think. On the shoes alone. So they obviously didn't get the full payment until I finished the qualification. So I decided that it wasn't working, and then I went off to a 3 months residential at Berkshire College of Agriculture.
Okay.
So I had to hand my notice in and leave my job, but I need to do this a different way because this hasn't worked.
Right.
So I'm not just going to resit the exam. I failed for a reason. So I went
It's a
to
brave
Berkshire.
thing to do, isn't it? A bit of a leap of faith.
Thinking about it now, yeah, but I mean, when you're that age, you're like, what? You're invincible. You just do it.
Yeah, but there's also an underlying determination there.
Stubbornness, I think someone calls it. I think that someone's my husband.
So were you married at that stage as well?
No.
Well then.
Right. I mean, I was a child bride, obvs, but I mean, it wasn't that long ago. But I just felt that I needed to complete something. I couldn't go along if I carried on starting stuff. And, I started my A-levels, didn't finish, had to retake my GCSEs. Something, for God's sake, woman, just finish something.
Right, but so where did that come from then?
No idea. I've only actually just properly thought about it as you just asked me that. So
we like putting people on the spot.
Do you think that's come from you? Is that a trait that you have ingrained in you, or was that parental nagging, for want of a better word? Where does that determination to succeed come from?
When I got when I started as a trainee veterinary nurse, there was a flat with it,
right?
A mandatory flat because you were on call. Yeah. It was before out of hours. We had a bleeper. Oh, it felt so cool. Bleeper. Oh, so important. No one knew what it was.
Massey lost its spark, didn't it?
Well, yeah. So I was already sort of living away from home.
Mm-hmm.
There was no strong input or steering as to which direction to go. There was support, don't get me wrong, but it was just something that I thought, this way isn't working. Let's find a way that does.
Okay, so that's come from you then, that determination to succeed.
And 3 months living in a college. What's to lose,
Right.
And the Berkshire College of Agriculture is a nice place, isn't it?
It was fun. It was a good, hard, fun 3 months. The food was amazing because it's agricultural college, so you got fry-ups every morning, sponge and pudding, custard. Oh my God, because it was always outdoor agricultural types.
Sure.
So they needed loads of food. And we were just like, well, we're sat down all day, but hey, it's fine. I'll just. So yeah, it was fantastic. There was only 6 of us in the final year. 5 of us are still in touch.
Fantastic.
And one I'm still trying to track down. I've not given up yet.
This determined young lady went off to college
Yep.
and got her qualifications.
Yeah.
Then
And then I
what?
came back home and I thought,
The lights went on.
yeah, ta-da, light bulb moment. So I needed to find somewhere to live and I needed a job.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've been studying since I started primary school. Vet nursing is hard. Veterinary profession is hard. So don't judge me.
No, we're not here to judge.
I became an estate agent.
Do you know, my brother's an estate agent, so I won't judge you whatsoever. They're the finest tradition of professions, and they're wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. So you became an estate agent. What?
Yeah. I found myself a little flat and got a job as a estate agent because I thought I want to have fun for a little bit. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Hang
after
on. No. Girls want to have fun with Cyndi Lauper.
Oh,
9 to 5
5.
was
That's Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Oh, sorry.
Dolly Parton, yeah.
You're mixing your sorry, Wendy, but
Yeah.
it's either Cyndi Lauper or it's Dolly Parton. Yeah.
Didn't the Bangles do a cover of Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
I can't remember actually.
No, I do like Cyndi Lauper.
And I'll probably get into trouble because it's probably Lauper, not Lauper. But
I
don't
I
know.
knew who you meant.
Lauper.
Yeah.
I think it's Lauper.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Carry on with the story. Sorry to interrupt, Wendy.
I'm very
Bad Michael.
I'm very sorry.
Bad Michael.
So anyway, I lasted 8 months. I'm like, oh, this is just so boring. Oh, this is not me. So I got a job back in veterinary practice, but not in Surrey, in North Yorkshire, obviously.
All right.
Because I just met my husband.
And that was small animal practice again, or
No.
Mixed.
that was mixed practice?
Okay.
So I'd worked in Surrey, where in small animal with Judy Dench as a client. It was all very, very, Surrey.
Yes.
And then I went to North Yorkshire and I had no clue what anyone was saying.
Ain't sorry, innit? Ain't sorry.
No, that's not
Farmers
even
have
either, is it,
phoned up.
Julian?
No.
And but what with accents and the large animal stuff, I
Go
was
on,
like,
Nora, that's you up there, isn't it?
Hang on a minute. We've interviewed the Yorkshire vet, and he doesn't talk like that.
does he not? He's not proper Yorkshire then.
He's not proper Yorkshire.
Oh.
No. He'd never ferret down his trousers, and he didn't wear a flat cap like this either.
Ah, no. So you ended up in mixed practice. How long did that last?
Until I had my first boy. So that was from 94 through to 97.
Okay.
Right.
When I started at the practice, I was the only qualified nurse there.
Right.
When I left, we were training nurses and had
Right.
other qualifieds.
Wow.
Oh, it was great.
Wow.
It was great. Fantastic.
Was that your doing?
Well, I was involved in the process. Yeah. I had a supportive practice manager as well. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. Started going out helping with cesareans. I actually knew which end of a cow was which and what was a cow and which wasn't a cow.
Helps.
Which helps.
It helps when you're trying to milk them. Yeah.
Yeah. And also doing cesareans, really.
Yeah.
And doing cesareans, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great. And some of the farmers, they just burst out laughing when they saw me waltz up in me like overalls. Because when we first started, the nurses were still in dresses. So when we put the wellies and the waterproofs on over our dresses, we looked like a weeble. Because your dress was all round. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Push her, see if she does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Right,
it was fun.
There were nurse dresses, weren't they, up until about the late 1990s?
Some people still wear them. I had the white pinny as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
and I used to, before I drove, I used to have to cycle into work with the penny going up. Oh, yeah.
So along came boy number one, who is
Max.
Max.
I was planning to go back to work because I'd actually said to my practice manager, if I have a baby, can I come back part-time? And she was like,
Right.
oh, are you pregnant? I went, no, not yet. I'm just planning. but I need to get stuff sorted. So because Mark being in the army, he was, away on tours and stuff. I knew it would have to be part-time because I didn't have any family there because all my family was in Surrey. So, but then we got posted to Germany instead. Like you do.
Oh, whereabouts?
Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know Hamlin very well.
It's lovely, isn't it?
I lived there for many years.
No.
I was an army child. My father was in the British Army on the Rhine. I was born in Bielefeld.
Yep.
And we moved around. We spent a while in Hamlin. There's that wonderful clock, isn't there, with the musical pipe that goes around there. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. And all the stencils of the rats, so you can follow the trail around. So and that was when we drove out there when Max was about 3 months old.
Wow.
And moved into one of the lovely flats.
Wow. So what did you do then? Whilst the old man was off doing soldiers, and you got a young baby or a young child?
So he went away a couple of months after we got there on 6-month tours. So I started to get a bit bored, like you do. I started doing nail clipping for pets.
For the older frowls there who couldn't manage their own nails.
Mainly for the British, because I didn't speak German. I learned all my numbers so I could order a Chinese takeaway, and how to say please and thank you.
Because you wouldn't want to order a German takeaway, would you?
No.
I love German cooking.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do, because I do a lot of building, and so sometimes you run out of
cement,
plaster and stuff. Cement.
Yeah.
Anyway, do carry on.
But so I also then got a job in the Army Education Centre teaching computer studies to soldiers and their wives, and as an admin assistant because I was a bit bored.
So how did you learn your computing stuff? Oh no, it was in the 90s, so there were computers.
Yes, I was, one of my A levels was computer studies.
Not the one you got an A in, because that was drama.
Yes, that was GCSE drama was an A.
Right.
But the A levels, the only Windows then were the glass ones. They weren't on the computer. That was it was that old. So I've always been a bit of a geek.
Right.
Well, it was DOS then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it still is.
Wrote stuff to go boing boing, make a ball go across the screen, and So Germany for 18 months. I was there. Mark was there for about 4 of them.
Right. But you didn't resent that at all, it sounds like.
Yeah.
No. One of the hardest things living out there was being in a UK car, driving in Germany. So you just drive going steering wheel, curb, steering wheel, curb. I'm on the right side, curb, steering wheel, curb. That's fine. I'm doing okay. Then you turn right and it'd all go wrong.
I'm on the left. This is British. This is the way to drive.
And then you'd go to a car park where you'd need to press to get a ticket.
Oh, yes.
On the wrong side of the car, or the right side of the car.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly tall. I've not got long arms at the best of times. And then the other issue as well was the drive-through at McDonald's. You just had to buddy up with someone, and do it in runs together, because it was just not possible otherwise.
What you do, and I did this in France when I went there climbing a few years back, is I reversed into the drive-through.
You see, that's Julian thinking, isn't it? That is just Julian thinking.
I did get some funny look.
I tried that at the toll on the auto route. But the man in blue with Gardner or something, John Dharma or something. He wasn't very amused at that.
Oh yeah, John
Was he
Dharma.
not?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people with that name over there, isn't there?
An awful, a very common name.
Yeah.
But their T-shirts are cheap because they can buy them in mass, can't they?
Buy them in bulk.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Wow. So that got you into computing and all this virtual stuff then, Wendy, because you do a lot of digital computery virtual stuff now, don't you?
That started back in around 2009. Back in the UK, I'd lived in North Devon worked in a practice there. And then we moved to where we are now in the Northwest.
Right.
And we bought the house because
Mhm.
being in army accommodation, you're always moving around. So I was heading towards back then the big 30, and I just thinking, if we don't buy a house soon, I'm going to be paying mortgage when I'm like 98 still.
Yeah.
And I felt that I wanted some continuity for the boys as they were growing up, because I'd had another one. They'd multiplied like we do. Who knows? So
Well, you obviously do, because you knew which way a cow had to be round.
I know, but you just, that's animals, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Okay.
They do things differently, really.
2 legs, 4 legs.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I bought the house. Mark hadn't seen it, but I did give him the address because he was on tour.
Generous of you.
Yeah, he didn't have a key for a while.
By the way, darling, you know your army salary has just bought this house.
Yeah,
It's ever so nice. Here it is.
Did you check his bank balance and thought, holy crap, what's happened here?
and the problem with that is, but yeah, so I gave him directions, so it was fine.
Very good.
It was just to settle down and give the boys went to one primary school, one secondary school.
Yeah, but I lived in about 15 different houses by the time I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And it is unsettling.
I think it's when they start education, and we said primary school, okay, you can, but when you get to secondary school, I really wanted to have that continuity.
Yeah.
But they, we moved into this house before they started primary school, so that was cool. Before I started doing all the geeky stuff, I worked at Myerscough College as a VNAC coordinator. So that was the MVQ and the portfolio nurse training.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a while, and then went back into clinical practice. And where my geekiness got to flourish again was in setting up the webinar vet with Anthony Chadwick.
Yeah, we've had Anthony on.
Yeah,
yes,
we have. Yeah.
So
He played a Buddy Holly song on his guitar.
Yes.
It was brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
We want him back on to finish the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that's how I started getting back more into the geeky bits and the IT side of stuff.
Cool.
You stayed with Anthony Chadwick for a while, didn't you? While he was setting up webinar there.
Yeah.
You carried on doing his operations.
Yeah, operations manager. So when I was his head nurse while we started the webinar vet, then Anthony sold the practice and focused purely on the webinar vet, and I stayed with him. And then in 2016, I left the webinar vet. My nickname was Webinar Wendy. So, and I was only allowed a few friends. I was Webinar Wendy. And am I allowed to mention other companies about plugging? I'm going to anyway.
Absolutely.
There was Webinar Wendy, Meal Pledge Mail on Pet Plan Pauline. So all of my friends, I was like, that's it. They've got to, match for companies. But I just felt I don't want to be known as Webinar Wendy forever. Like a soap actor gets caught. What else can I do?
Sure, it's a bit one-dimensional, isn't it?
Yeah. So I left and started my own business.
Malix? That way.
Okay.
And then when that wasn't quite enough, I also joined BVNA Council, so I wasn't too bored.
And you're now senior vice president of BVNA?
I'm off the end of a conveyor belt, Julian. That's it. I'm nothing. I'm nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, I'm a regional rep for BVNA. They can't quite get rid of me. I'm hanging on.
Okay.
So you had a very successful presidency year, I think, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think that's for others to judge, but I enjoyed it. I was president for 2 years, 2 terms. It was amazing, challenging, frustrating at times, but worth it. Amazing. Loved it.
I think the fact that you were on for 2 years meant that you were actually able to make some changes, to not just suggest things, but to see them through a bit.
Yeah, so maybe it was. I think it can be very intense, So I think in the normal running thing, because, you have your junior vice year to, start nurturing ideas and learning and introducing, then your year as president, and then your year as senior vice president. So, it's not just for 1 year. So yeah, it's amazing thing to do.
Are there any things that you felt you achieved that you're particularly proud of during that time?
When I did my first president's speech, there were some friends that I hadn't seen for years, nurses, to come to support me, which was amazing. And at the end of the speech, they all came up and said, "Oh, Wendy, you did well. Oh, thank you." And one of them went, "Wendy, you didn't swear once." Like, yes. So for me, on a personal level,
not swearing on your inaugural speech.
Well done.
Okay,
I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to see changed about the profession that maybe you didn't have the chance to?
How long have you got?
We got as long as you like. We spent 2 days talking to Phil Lemette.
Yeah.
I think as a profession, we've made good progress, and there's still so much more we can do. I think as a profession, we can be very impatient. We want changes, and we want them now. Well, that's not going to happen in any profession.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we compare ourselves to the human nursing field, look at them where they are now. Yeah, but how far back do they go?
Yeah.
Compared to when we started.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess to some extent we're relying, and I say we because I am an honorary vet nurse, we're relying on the pre-existing network, aren't we? The human network as a bit of a scaffold. But it's not always a good fit, is it?
Yeah, I think we can learn from them. We can look to the human nursing field. We don't necessarily need to copy everything they do.
No.
We can learn from their mistakes very easily as well. That's a really good thing. Things that you naturally think is a progression for a profession to be able to do and move into, they've done before. Has it worked? If not, why not? And what can we do differently to prevent it going wrong if it has, or to prevent it perhaps moving better? And there are some huge differences ethically, what is done in human and what is not done. So we shouldn't, I think, just blanket go, they do it, so we should.
Right. No, quite. As you say, ethics is one thing. The whole monetary infrastructure is another thing. Ain't no NHS for dogs and cats.
Yeah, don't get me on that one. The social media campaigns that say, if everyone paid £1 more tax a month, we could have an NHS for pets. Yeah, because that's going to work, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I can see. I can see the owners of veterinary practices saying, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. So the government can take over my practice." Yeah. No. Let's not. No. A discussion for another time over a beer.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what about an NHS for pets then?
It will work very, very well. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start in America first.
Well, it'd be helpful if they had an NHS for humans, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think if the NHS gave out invoices, which was zero at the bottom, this is what your treatment would have cost. This is what seeing a doctor would have cost. Yeah. Because there's no comparisons to see.
No.
Yeah.
So they look at veterinary prices and think, oh my God, that's a rip-off.
Yes. A prescription cost me £6, and yet look, I'm paying £100 for these drugs. My goodness me, there's something wrong here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes,
all we've got to do is put the cost
the
of
NHS should charge more.
What it would have been without the NHS for people, I think, to start seeing. Yeah. But I've not got a solution for that one.
I think it'd be a good idea. Let's write that down on a postcard. Everyone who's listening, write that down on a postcard and send it to the health minister. I won't tell you who the health minister is because it's a Boris Johnson appointee and it'll change next week or the week after anyway. Anyone know who it is now? No. There we go.
There we go. Absolutely. Okay, so NHS for pets, there's a good one. What about protected titles?
There was a petition to protect the title. We didn't get enough signatures. That's just awful.
Carry on.
If every vet nurse and every vet signed the petition back then and got two of their relatives to, we would have got enough signatures.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to explain? I mean, Mike and I, and you know why that is important, and it is very important, I think.
So at the moment,
but to a lot of our listeners, they may not know what a protected title is.
So at the moment, anybody can call themselves a veterinary nurse.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a protected title. So when a member of public walks into a practice and sees a staff member with a badge veterinary nurse, they don't necessarily need to be a registered qualified veterinary nurse to wear that badge, because veterinary nurse is not a protected title.
Mm-hmm.
If we are able to protect the title, we feel that I'm not on BVNA anymore, so I'm speaking for me.
Mm-hmm.
There is no we, for royal we. Then as a profession, I think we can protect animal welfare better, because the clients will know who they're seeing and what qualifications they've got.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you say veterinary nurse, it's a title, it's protected. You're a registered qualified veterinary nurse, and being registered means being part of a professional body. If you're part of a professional body, you're accountable. You're accountable for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay to stay on the register. If you do anything out with the code of conduct, there are consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of the general public don't realise that.
Yeah.
And they'll go into a practice, and in the best of faith, they'll accept if someone says they're a veterinary nurse, they'll have heard of the things perhaps the veterinary nurses are allowed to do and able to do, and assume that these ones are doing it under the auspice of the practice, of the governing bodies, of the regulatory bodies. And that works badly both ways, because what it means is that the pet can often suffer as a result of getting poor quality treatment. And it also means that the client is perhaps less well protected when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to work abroad? I'm missing out Germany, but what about America? Would you consider going to America and doing some vet nursing, or?
Yeah, I've got itchy feet. I'd love to travel more. I was actually looking at the volunteering in Caribbean and going out and doing, and
that'd be tough. That's all blue skies, blue sea, and sunshine
and sand,
Sand.
and mosquitoes, and So I think as I'm getting to an age where people have bucket lists. 5 hours. You may want.
You want to go to Hawaii? Was that?
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, am I on a different tangent here?
Daniel.
Yeah. Okay.
So instead of a bucket list, and you may want to edit this as you see fit, I've got a it list. Begins with an F, not a B. So I'm just saying yes to stuff.
Okay.
In May of this year, I went swimming in the sea at 8 o'clock in the morning in East Sussex off a beach with my stepmom, who is like a complete loon in the most lovely sense of the word. She does all sorts. She goes all year round. And I've never done it, even though it's a town I was born in.
What, this was with a swimming costume?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And like glove things to keep my hands warm, because it was freezing.
Okay.
See, I didn't see anything unusual there, because I did a bit of wild swimming, so I was thinking, But
no, for me, that's like.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Is that the swimming in the sea, or swimming in the sea early in the morning?
Probably both. Both combination.
Right.
Of, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely petrified I was, but I just did it, and that's
wow.
so.
Good for you.
When you say, "Do you want to work abroad?" My instinct saying, "Yes, do it. Worry about it and get scared." And doing this podcast.
So
honestly, it's like, no, I can't do that. No.
Yeah, Mike and I are terrified every week.
Yeah.
What's the guest's name?
Who's she?
What do they do? What are we going to talk about? Oh my God.
What are we going to drink?
Oh no.
Say yes and then worry about it later.
Okay. So when was the last time you drew blood then?
I was locuming regularly in practice until June of this year.
Oh wow. Okay, so you still kept your hand in then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
Because very often there seems to be a tendency that as other roles come in, new companies come in, that we tend to lose sight of what got us there in the first place
Totally.
and just drift off, but you're still practicing.
So yeah, I was really fortunate to be in touch with a vet that I worked at when I was in practice full time, and she was working at a charity place. And I said, "Can I come along and can you hold my hand?" And she, because she knew what my competence levels were when I was full time nursing, so she knew what I used to be able to achieve, and she helped me get back up there. And that's so important, I think, because I was absolutely petrified. That I just didn't know what I was doing anymore. Lost my dexterity, lost the actual practical capabilities.
Yep.
And yeah, it was amazing. So
Good for you.
Good. You said until June of this year, so does that mean you're not going to do any more? Or
no, it's just I was doing a lot of shifts. Especially last Christmas to help out some local practices with COVID and everything. And I think sometimes I used to love going in, and I was always the happy, cheerful one. Trying to eat chocolate, I take my mask off and forgot my shield. Oh, okay. Have you been eating? Oh, Wendy, it's poo. It's just something smeared on me. It was a fun one. We had a laugh. But then, the stress and the pressure in practice, I started not being the fun one.
Do you think the pressure has increased over the last?
Totally. With COVID and lockdown, the pressure working full time in clinical practice is so hard. Hats off to everyone who's continued working full time with all the restrictions, the pressures from clients, expectations, and it's the car park shuffle as well when you're trying to keep your distance and they're stepping towards you and you're stepping back, during the lockdown, and just having a go at you because you're stopping me coming to practice. No, put a mask on and you can come in. It was just got a bit heavy. So I thought, rather than get to a place where I didn't enjoy it anymore, I'm very fortunate and I appreciate that. Let's step that back for a bit, take a break for a few months.
Yeah.
And then,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I know I'm really fortunate to be able to do that because I've got my consultancy as well.
I'd say you're not fortunate. I'd say you've worked really hard. You've pushed for your career to go in directions that you perhaps didn't know at the time you wanted them to go in. You've taken breaks. You haven't had them fall into your lap. You've taken those opportunities, and so you deserve it. Don't put yourself down there, Wendy. I think you've really worked for what you've got and deserve it.
Thank you. I'm going red now. Thank you, Julian. I'll get you back.
For those people not watching but listening, Wendy's got a lovely bright pink colour and shows she's well perfused.
Yes, get that pulse ox on now.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you very much, Julian.
Yeah,
so,
all good.
Wendy, you've seen Veterinary Ramblings before, haven't you?
Yes.
And you've seen the torture that we put people through for just a minute or so. This torture called 60-second CPD.
Yeah.
Are you up for it?
No.
No. You said earlier on that you just say yes to everything and it doesn't matter, and you'll throw yourself in and you'll do it. We've got that on tape. That is recorded. This is part of the show.
No, it was photoshopped. It wasn't me.
No, okay. Right, okay. We're pretty good, but we're not into that virtual.
No.
What do they call that stuff where you edit words into people's mouths that they didn't ever say?
Politics.
Fraud. Politics. Yeah. Let me have a look.
They're the same thing.
So I've got my magic clock timer machine here.
Ooh.
Wendy, 60 seconds CPD. What are you going to give us 60 seconds worth of CPD on?
Don't know. I'm going to do stand up and speak up as an RVN.
Stand up and speak up as an RVN. Okay, right. So let's.
Sounds intriguing.
It sounds fascinating to me. Right. So let's get this set up. So, Wendy Nevins RVN, 60 seconds on stand up and speak up as an RVN, starting now.
Okay, so stand up and speak up as an RVN for yourself and others. We all want change in the profession, but it takes us to actually stand up and speak up. So it's very easy when you see RCVS consultations, BVNA consultations going around to say, I'm not going to bother filling out because nothing ever changes. Well, if you don't participate, nothing is ever going to change. Nothing changes quickly. No changes happen overnight. So the way to make changes happen is, I feel, is to be consistent, to participate, and to be proactive in encouraging others to participate in consultations, making sure your voice is heard and others. And if you want to get involved more, join one of the representative associations, put your money where your mouth is, and participate. And if anybody wants to speak to me independently, individually about BVNA and being part of council, let me know. I've just run out of time.
Very
Perfect. I guess what it means
I thought it was very good.
when you get those surveys come through from the BVA or from the BVNA or from the RCVS, fill them in.
Yeah, I know it's really easy to go, well, I feel everyone that comes in, nothing ever changes.
Yeah.
But it's not always the loudest voice that wins. It's not about shouting the loudest. It's being consistent and participating and persevering and being constructive and helping others as well.
Okay.
So I get off my soapbox now.
No, don't get off your soapbox.
No.
I like you on your soapbox.
soapbox.
We like you on your soapbox. So, all right. So you've hit a number of threads tonight. A sort of a steely determination,
stubbornness, yeah.
And you're saying that things don't happen overnight. You've got to have that steely resolve, and it's a drip perseverance on that. Okay. So what I'd like you to do. Here we go. I'd like you. Be very afraid. Okay. So on those topics,
yeah.
If you were going to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would you put in it?
So there's a few things I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You'll never be as skinny as you are now. Enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the sort of thing you were thinking of?
Carry on. This is your letter to you, so that's fine. We're just privileged that you're sharing it with us.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you'll get there in the end. But just keep going.
Plod on through.
Yeah. Every step you take, just keep stepping.
I'll be watching you. Oh no, that's wrong song.
Songs again. But progress is progress no matter how big it is. So I'll never forget the feeling when I opened my GCSE results the first time, and I got 1. That was it. I was like, I'm a complete failure. I've got 1 GCSE. In my previous high school, I was in the top sets for everything.
But was it an ology?
An ology? She's a scientist. You got an ology?
Yay!
I love that. I love Maureen Lippman. Anyway.
I apologise to everyone listening. That was a 1970s pop culture reference to Maureen Lippman advert for BT, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And she took the scroll off his certificate and then she put it back on. Got an ology. Pottery, wasn't it?
Sociology. What's sociology?
Yeah.
You got knowledge. That's science. You're a scientist.
I just got a drama llama. But yeah, so going from there to like thinking my mum's gonna kill me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then and then not finishing my A levels as well. I've always thought, I never went to uni. Could have done so much better. But actually, you know, I'm so proud of all I've achieved.
Quite rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, people say, would you go back and change anything? Well, no, because that would have changed everything that happened after.
It's the journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the destination. We hear that from so many other people when we speak to them. It's when they consider at one stage that they've not got the grades, not got the job, not got an opportunity they wanted, then at the time they see it as a failing, and they see themselves as a failure.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 10 years, not even that in many cases, and those missteps that you take in life sometimes prove to be the most powerful and important things you ever do.
And the things that impact on yourself, and you and like GCSE results, but no one else here, no one in the profession knows until I tell them. So
yeah,
you know, does it actually matter?
Probably
at the time,
not.
it was huge. At the time, it was huge.
It is absolutely huge, and I think now of the stress I had during O levels. And was it important? No, not at all. I don't think anyone ever asks me, and nor ever will. What did I get for O levels?
No.
Or A levels.
Yeah. But then something that I'm also immensely proud of, and everyone at, I think, BVNA Congress back in 2019, sorry, I brought my boys along, and I was just like bursting. So apart from my profession and what I've achieved there, those two are just, and they've both been to uni, which I didn't do. I'm like, yes, you go for it. And I'm just so proud of both of them.
Quite rightly so.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I see no better way to wrap up than that.
Absolutely.
Really.
So, I think, I mean, what does it leave for us to say other than if you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, don't forget to subscribe, pick us up. We'll have another great guest on next week, and drop us a line. Let us know what you're thinking. Ask us any questions. And if you want us to cover a topic that you particularly like or have got an interest in, tell us and we'll do what we can. Wendy, it's been an absolute privilege to interview you this evening.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Loved your story and hearing about your steely determination to succeed. And I have to say, from everything that I know of you, you have succeeded. You've done very, very well. So I'll
Shall
raise.
we
Sorry.
just give, we're always forgetting in our haste to bestow you with gratitude. We're always forgetting that you've given us an amazing CPD tonight.
You have?
And we got a certificate.
Oh, thank you.
Because Webinar Vet and all of these other CPD providers, they're nothing on Veterinary Ramblings.
Absolutely.
This is CPD we provide.
Here we go. This says it's certificate to certify stuff. And it says this certifies that we have learned some stuff.
Yep.
We are certainly more educated than we were a short while ago.
Right.
Clever us.
Thank you.
And look, there's a Stilton on there.
Yep.
And there's a cow because you used to work with cows.
Yeah.
And there's a cat's jaw because you used to work with cats.
Mm-hmm.
And you said first of all that you're afraid of blood. So there's a blood spatter that, as pure luck would have it,
It's just
shaped like a heart. Isn't that amazing? That was on the floor.
such a bespoke certificate, isn't it?
And there's me, would you believe? In my previous role, Mike didn't go to see me in that. My previous role in Amdram, made up to look like a younger person with hair.
Much
Oh no,
younger,
sorry, an 80-year-old. An 80-year-old.
Excellent stuff. That's brilliant.
Thank you so much.
You're very, very well. Thank you, Wendy. That's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to raise me rum mug to you.
Thank you.
Say,
I'll raise my Winnie the Pooh
Coca-Cola. Yeah, fair enough. May your dog go with you.
Thank you.
May your dog get with you.
Cheers, Wendy. Join us next week on Veterinary Ramblings as we sit down with someone who is truly inspirational.
She really is, Mike, and she has an awe-inspiring story to share with us all.
Hey, we don't want to give too much away now, but be sure not to miss out on next week's guest, Sarah Cotton.
Stay tuned.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.